Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, I pretty much am making this video just because I want to talk about One Punch Man in the third season that's coming out. Just because I, like most people, really like One Punch Man. I love it even. I've been buying all the manga. I think I'm pretty much caught up for what's translated in English at least. I have up to volume 25. I don't know, maybe there might be one or two more volumes that are out right now that I don't know about, but anyway, yeah, I just want to talk about One Punch Man right now. I remember watching One Punch Man way back. Well, not way back. Just a few. It feels like way back just because it was probably one of the first anime I ever watched. And I just had such a great time with it. And, even then, I maybe didn't have as much appreciation for the animation and stuff like that. I wasn't as into I wasn't into anime at all really at that point. So obviously I didn't really I couldn't tell the difference between good animation and just sort of average animation really. But as years have gone on, I've really gained so much appreciation for the animation, especially in the first season, because it's just incredible. And obviously when the second season, when I watched that, there's the drop in the animation quality. I only noticed it a little bit, like the first time I watched it again, because I didn't really have as much appreciation for the good animation. But like, as a year or two later, like I've sort of noticed, yeah, the second season's animation is definitely a drop in quality. Obviously, we all know the story about how it went from Madhouse, I believe, was who did the first season, over to, and then the second season was done by JC Studios, I think. And so, they weren't able to really replicate the incredible animation done by Madhouse, which, can't expect them to live up to that, but it was still disappointing. Uh, I see a lot of people argue that, the second season's still good because of how good the story is. And, the animations at least is still decent. And so we shouldn't really hate on the second season, which I don't want to hate on the second season at all, but I still think it's right to say that it's a step down from the first season, just because of the animation. And the argument that it's still decent is like, just like, I especially see people saying, "Oh, but like the original web comic has really bad art, so like we can't judge it based on the animation and how good that is." But I feel like for the original web comic, like that bad art and just sort of rough sketches, it really works for the style of One Punch Man. And, incredible, really clean, well done animation also works really well. But just sort of in that middle ground where it's just decent, I think it doesn't cater to the style of One Punch Man as much. Just because of how extreme and bombastic One Punch Man is, you kind of have to be at one of those extremes. Either you're gonna have these rough sketches that are just sort of doodles and stuff, and that's just it has a lot of character that way, or you do this really incredible animation that really brings all the craziness of One Punch Man to life. So that's what I have to say about the first two seasons. And so, first season done by Madhouse, second season done by JC Studios, and now this upcoming third season, which I don't know if we've gotten a release date or not, but anyways, it's being done by MAPPA. Now, most recently, I think people recognize MAPPA for doing, the most recent, final season of Attack on Titan. They've been doing all that. There were some controversies with using 3D animation for like the Titans. It kind of looked a bit off, but it wasn't really bad. I don't think anyone can like honestly look at that and say that is just bad animation. It definitely looks off. It stands out a bit, but I think especially with like this most recent special that came out for Attack on Titan in like the spring, I believe. Yeah. That it honestly looked pretty good. It seemed like they're getting more used to it, and so it had pretty good animation. And then especially with Chainsaw Man, I think that really showed people what 3D animation could do, and it was very genuinely impressive. But the only thing is that I don't know how well they're going to do with One Punch Man. I know a lot of people, talk about how hard it's going to be to animate One Punch Man if you've read the manga, just knowing how incredible the art is. I mean, the art's incredible throughout the whole thing, but this next section that's going to be in season 3 is really some big stuff, and it's very incredible art. And I understand people's worries. I'm worried about how well they're going to be able to do it, especially using 3D animation. I'm just not super sure about that, because the first season, I just love the style of that. I think everyone does. And they were using, 2D animation. They might have used CG a couple of times, because I know that happens quite often, where even if you can't tell, sometimes studios will use a bit of CG just to help the animation a tiny bit, but it's like, mostly just your 2D stuff. But, I'm obviously, we don't know for sure if Mappa is going to be using the CG, but I think it's very likely, seeing as they've been doing a lot of CG stuff, and especially with how popular Chainsaw Man is, they'll think that, okay, we'll just carry that over to One Punch Man. And overall, I usually prefer your 2D, if the 2D animation is done very well, then I will prefer the 2D animation. In terms of I think in general, the quality of, I don't want to say, I would say One Punch Man Season 1, it might be same quality as Chainsaw Man in terms of animation. I'll say right now, I'm just sort of, I think Chainsaw Man is just sort of okay. I think it's, kind of fun, but I don't know. I think the only main thing that I really liked about Chainsaw Man was the animation. And so I think the quality of Chainsaw Man in One Punch Man Season 1 in terms of animation, it's pretty similar, but I still prefer the animation of One Punch Man Season 1. I just prefer that 2D art or 2D animation and stuff like that. I think there's a lot of cool things they do with it, especially using the black and white for the impact frames, or using the charcoal. I don't know for sure if they use a whole lot of charcoal in One Punch Man Season 1. I probably should have at least checked out a few scenes just for this video, but I just like that kind of stuff. I think a lot of it comes to I almost just said it comes to the fart or the fact, because I mixed up part and fact, but it comes down to the fact that I like to draw. I wouldn't say I'm, a super great artist, but I like to draw a bit. And, I obviously you can't draw 3D. You can't draw CGI or whatever. You can only draw, 2D, obviously. I mean, I'm sure there are some people who are computer 3D artists or whatever, but I just like using, pencil and paper, and I just sort of doodle away. And so I just sort of, I lean towards that stuff more. I like the charcoal drawings and stuff like that. I just lean towards that a bit more. So, third season, it's just sort of I'm in a weird spot. I think, okay, another thing about the third season is not only is the animation incredible, and that's going to be, the art and the, upcoming, in the manga chapters, that's incredible, hard to animate, but also the story is huge in this next section of the story, of the manga or whatever, or what they're going to adapt to the anime. It's some very big stuff, and the most the most extreme biggest stuff in One Punch Man, probably. I know I'm forgetting his name, but the final boss of One Punch Man Season 1, you could say that's more extreme, but it wasn't taken as seriously. It wasn't a whole story arc. We're getting into a big expanding story arc that takes place over several volumes. And so not only in terms of translating the art to animation, but translating the story, that's going to be huge, because it is intense, and it's some very good stuff. It's where the story really kicks off in One Punch Man. I mean, because for the most part, Season 1, that was just sort of, it is more comedy stuff, more character introductions, I guess you could say. Second season had more story, but it still felt like a more general setup. But this next stuff, it's gonna be big, and I think there's a lot of pressure on Mappa, and I don't know how well they're gonna be able to, follow through with that. And I also don't know for sure how much money Mappa is willing to put into this, because I know Mappa is a huge company, and One Punch Man is huge, but I don't know if One Punch Man's their biggest project right now, or if right now they're still mostly focused on Attack on Titan, Chainsaw Man Season 2, which we obviously is going to come out sometime. If they're more focused on that, and One Punch Man, I don't know for sure if they're going to try as hard, especially with how we know like how overworked their workers are, and it's sort of, I don't know if they're going to be able to really bring everything to the table with One Punch Man season 3. But overall, I know I've been kind of negative. I don't hate Mappa or anything. It's just generally I lean towards that 2D animation rather than 3D. So that's just, that's just me. I do still hope we see more 3D animation and see animation develop in general. Because I know that, because I think there's a place for both in the world, and we don't need, I don't want to say that we shouldn't have any 3D animation because I don't like it. I still like it, I just lean towards the 2D. And I don't hate Mappa or anything. I guess maybe I'm not as big of a Mappa fan as other people, but I'm just worried, okay? Because I love this series, and I want to see it be done really well. But overall, I'm excited. I don't think Mappa's going to mess it up or anything. I'm just saying I don't know if I'll like it more than season 1, or if I'll like it more than the manga even, because I love the manga. I'm gonna buy it for like until it's over, which honestly I don't know when One Punch Man's over. I know I heard the web comics sort of phasing out a bit, but I don't know. Someone in the comments can tell me like what's going on with the story and how if One Punch Man's sort of nearing its end, just because I know the web comics. Like, there's been, like, 1 chapter released in a year or something. But anyways, I'm sort of rambling on at this point. I mean, this whole video was just me rambling pretty much, but that's just what I want to say. Just want to get my thoughts out. I don't know for sure when One Punch Man Season 3 releases. I think it's supposed to be at the end of this year, but yeah, still excited. Can't wait to watch it. Yeah, that's all I have to say, so save the blobfish, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.